Imagine if fifth grade you could plan a vacation. If you're anything like fifth grade me, you would want to go see orca whales because I was obsessed with orca whales. I watched Free Willy 10 million times. I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. It turns out I am terrible at science. I also married a super 90s guy who loves skating. And if you put orca whales and skating together, what do you get? It's the Pacific Northwest. So we, over the summer, took a road trip, went down the entire coast. Like, we were practically in Canada at the very northernmost part of Washington state. And then we basically were like Seattle, Portland, and we hit all the spots in between. And I just want to share with you some of the stuff that we did. It was so fun. Like, it was the most fun. The first place that we went is called Anacortes, and we stayed in an Airbnb that was like a hippie magical wonderland. It had an actual tree house or I should say tree stand in the backyard where you could see a view of the water, and there was like a babbling brook in the yard. It was so pretty. But our first stop was the whales. Seriously, like, I can't even begin to explain to you how much this meant to 10-year-old Shauna. I mean, we're talking about Free Willy here. Like, I could hardly believe, like, I've seen them now, and I'm like, still, my mind is blown how just majestic these creatures are. So before I get any more tongue-tied, we got up really early and we get the ferry. Grew up on Cape Cod. These ferries look really similar to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket ferries, except the best part, the front was just like a windshield. It was open and you could see all of the scenery coming by, and of course, the Pacific Northwest has vegetation like you may have never seen before. Washington's the evergreen state for a reason. They're beautiful trees and beautiful mountains. So it was just incredible to be out on the water and seeing all this. And then you arrive into San Juan Islands, and there's a little town, and it's so quaint, and there's little shops and cafes, and of course we stop and get lunch, but we had our whale watch reserved, and for some reason this never clicked to me, because originally I wanted to take a kayak tour, but the kayak tours, they say, like, unless you can commit to a whole weekend, you're probably better off taking a motorized whale watch boat. To me, a whale watch boat is usually big. Like, it's a ferry. Like, you can hold hundreds of people on it, and you just like sidle up alongside the whales. But apparently, for orca whales, they were these little small boats, and it was this great intimate experience. And this is San Juan Safaris. I'll link everything below so that you know where to make your reservations. Once they found the pod for the day, which, you know, whales travel with their families and they actually hang out in the same area. And once they found that pod, like, they would radio to each other, and so they knew where to find it. And we pulled up, and all of a sudden you see it. You see like little whales coming up, and like at that point, I was done. I was like, great, we saw whales. This is amazing. Little did I know, the whales actually got much closer to us, and so close, in fact, that they kind of they were on the long side, the left side of the boat. They went under, and they come up on the right side of the boat. Now, there are legalities as to how close the boats can get to the whales. So if the whales themselves get close to the boat, they have to shut their engine off. Like, they just have to stop, like freeze. And so when the engine went off, you could hear them. They were like, when they would come up, they would surface, and then, you know, they breathe through a blowhole in the back of their head, and it was just the most magical sound that I was incapable of capturing on camera. So you have to go yourselves and see it. But I did see orca whales. It was an incredible experience, and if that wasn't enough, afterwards we went to get drinks at the Friday Harbor House. This was a suggestion of one of the whale watch guides, and best suggestion ever. Like, panoramic, beautiful, practically 360 views of the whole harbor. You could see some of the seaplanes coming in. One of them was painted like an orca whale, which was the most adorable thing. And so I'm just sitting there with my Pinot Grigio, enjoying the sunshine, and it was not too hot and it was not too cold. Literally the best time. Like, I would suggest to anyone, go to the San Juan Islands, go see some orca whales. It's awesome. After that, we drove down to Seattle. Probably are thinking, oh, you went to Seattle, you went to the Space Needle, of course. No. If you know anything about our Chicago trip, we don't go up to the top of tall things when we are on vacation. We did go to Pike's Place, and of course, Pike's Place Market, 90s kids, what am I thinking? Real world Seattle. I did want to see them throw the fish, but what I was more interested in is this place called Ghost Alley Espresso, which is supposedly haunted. Ghosts, amazing. You know, when you're in Seattle, you want to have a good local coffee and support some good local coffee shops. So it took me forever to find it. If you can find the gum wall, it's at the very end of the gum wall. And if you know what the gum wall is, it's absolutely disgusting. But I guess it's a tourist rite of passage to take pictures with other people's chewed gum. We went to Ghost Alley Espresso and ordered mystery mochas, which I just thought was very novel. For me, she makes a white chocolate soy peach mocha. Like, I live in Georgia. How did you know? So when we went to Portland, we stayed in a houseboat, which was the coolest thing. It was a little pink houseboat on the water, and we had it all to ourselves. We could enjoy the deck outside, and I really liked walking around the neighborhood. It's a whole little neighborhood of floating houses. It was really, really neat. The next morning, we went into the city. We went and visited Powell's Books. We got some Stumptown coffee. We got some Voodoo donuts. So, you know, just did all the Portland things really quick. And Voodoo donuts, of course, a classic. You can get them in Orlando now. You can get them in Denver. But we went to the original in Portland, got myself a vegan Voodoo donut, and it was awesome. Then we went to Hood River, where Ryan went skating, and I went down to the riverfront, and it was so beautiful. I really wish ahead of time that I had known like that they do water sports there. Like, everyone was paddleboarding and kayaking and out on their jet skis. So next time I go out to Hood River, which there probably will be another time because it was the coolest skate park, I'm definitely gonna rent a paddleboard, or, you know, plan to at least bring my bathing suit. And then our last Airbnb, I picked a relaxing one. It was in the suburbs, and it was this really sweet couple. We literally call it Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I would say it's more like a wonderland, because they described it as the Disney World of backyard gardens. And I was like, I'm there. Disney World, I'm there. And it really, oh my gosh, the plants were amazing. They had a massage chair, they had a hot tub. So it was a great place to spend our last night before we got on a plane and headed home. But before we headed home, last thing we did was go to a tiki bar, because, you know, can't visit a new city without checking out a new tiki bar. And we went to Hale Pele. I never say these. I know my pronunciation of stuff is terrible. But it was a really fun tiki bar. I mean, it's no Trader Sam's. You know, I'm always going to choose something with animated, corny dad jokes, but that was our Pacific Northwest road trip. It was amazing. I got to see orca whales. I got to see where they filmed Free Willy. I got to see where they filmed The Goonies. My husband got to rollerblade in every cool skate park he dreamed of in the 90s. And we got to enjoy nature and each other's company. Super fun. I'm going to try and include all of the details of where we stayed and where we went in the blog post. Check it out. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them. And coming up, I'm going to do videos for Chicago, Austin, and New York. I mean, I'm going to New York City and upstate New York. So I'll have a bunch of things to share with you. Until then, see you real soon.